Thank you all for sticking around for our finish. It's been a fabulous day, so we're almost there. Yes, it's been fabulous. We're almost there. People online hanging out with us, thank you very much. A couple of things to do before we conclude. So what we have for you next is a video, and to introduce the video, it's Mary Toomey with the University of California, Irvine. Mary works with Laura Mosqueda, that you've met several times. You're like a frequent flyer today, Laura. And they are working with us and housing the National Center on Elder Abuse. So they've been fabulous partners. Mary works quite actively with National Adult Protective Services Association, and they're here to introduce their video. So come on up. I didn't say leap, so yeah.
Hey everyone, so I'm really happy to be here to introduce this video, which actually in turn introduces a new national grassroots elder justice movement called Ageless Alliance United Against Elder Abuse. You know, in this transformational moment in our field, we stand on the shoulders of pioneers who were voices in the wilderness, talking about elder justice before talking about elder justice was cool. I just want to say thanks to Dr. Rosalie Wolf and Dr. Georgia Anitzberger. Without their leadership, without their commitment, we wouldn't be here today. But we also stand together with victims of abuse and those who love them. You know, at the National Center on Elder Abuse, like you, we get calls, faxes, emails, and letters every day from victims of elder abuse and those who care about them and those who love them. And we respond as we can to their pain and their anger and their frustration and their conviction that elder abuse should not happen to anyone else. So at the University of California, Irvine, we wanted to create a way that victims and those who care about them could add their voices to ours, to channel their passion. That's what we have created in Ageless Alliance United Against Elder Abuse. So Ageless Alliance is a place that anyone of any age, from Alaska to Florida, from Hawaii to Maine, can join the elder justice movement. We hope you'll go to the Ageless Alliance website at www.agelessalliance.org. And so, with a shout out to Orange Label Art and Advertising in Orange County, California, and to NCOA and Witness, with thanks for their generosity in sharing some of their film. It's my honor to launch Ageless Alliance United Against Elder Abuse.
Elder abuse and neglect. It's more common than ever before. Right now, our humanity is challenged as we find ourselves in the throes of a hidden epidemic. As 77 million baby boomers age, the situation will become even more desperate, adding to the already alarming rate of elder abuse. Abuse that includes intentional, unintentional, and neglectful acts by family, caregivers, or others.
Like many other forms of abuse, like child abuse and domestic violence, it's sort of a family secret.
The facts are staggering. 1 out of every 10 older Americans is abused or neglected. That number increases to 1 in 2 among people with dementia. For every 1 case of elder abuse reported, 23 are not.
We have thousands and thousands, perhaps even millions, of elderly people in this country being abused.
Elder abuse occurs in homes and facilities and cuts across all demographic groups. It causes untold suffering and cost, not just for its victims, but also for those who love them. Victims often live their last years impoverished, injured, and neglected.
There are so many elders who are victims of elder abuse, whether it's physical abuse or neglect.
At 82 years old, I didn't think I'd ever have to go through that. It was hard.
I'm afraid to trust someone too much.
Imagine, what if someone you love is a victim of elder abuse?
I am a victim of elder abuse.
What if elder abuse happens to you? The reality is that it could happen to anybody, by anybody, unless people from all generations get involved and speak up.
I stand for dignity. I will not stand for elder abuse.
In fact, courageous individuals from around the country have started to speak up.
We must take care of those who have taken care of us.
What has happened
to the protection of our seniors.
These are the people that built this country, and I think it's time this country took a stand and did something about this.
These individuals and those who have suffered paved the way for a grassroots movement to be born. A movement that connects people of all ages and all backgrounds to identify, prevent, and eliminate elder abuse. A movement called the Ageless Alliance.
I will not stand for elder abuse.
Stop elder abuse.
Alabama will not stand for elder abuse.
We are united against elder abuse.
The Ageless Alliance provides tools and resources to help those who are currently suffering and empowers people to take action against these unspeakable acts. Our elders have given us so much. Let's work together to ensure that every human being ages with the dignity, respect, and happiness that we all deserve. United, we will make a positive difference in the lives and hearts of our aging society. Speak up and join the Ageless Alliance. Visit agelessalliance.org. That's agelessalliance.org.
Thank you. Carol, may I recognize you because I saw that you came in. Carol Johnson came in. She's with the Domestic Policy Council at the White House and has been tremendously supportive and helpful to us as we put together the day. So we have a final two speakers, and I'm very pleased to be able to invite them to the stage, kind of one at a time next. It's my real honor to introduce to you Kathy Weatherford. Kathy is the president and CEO of the Insured Retirement Institute. This is the leading not-for-profit organization educating Americans on the importance of retirement planning, including the growth, acceptance, and understanding of annuities and variable life products. She works with all sectors of the financial services industry. And Kathy is someone I've known for a long time. She is from Oklahoma, so she met the other Oklahomans here today, served as the insurance commissioner in Oklahoma. And she found you, didn't she? She said she worked as the insurance commissioner in Oklahoma and then served for it was longer than that, for 12 years as the executive director, the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, which is where I first met Kathy. She worked very closely with Secretary Sebelius when Secretary was insurance commissioner in the state of Kansas. So she may be from Oklahoma. We Kansans claim her as well. And she is fabulous and a wonderful partner and here to talk about what she and her network of members can do to help raise this issue. So Kathy, welcome.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary Greenlee, for that introduction, and thank you for having me here today. And let me echo one more time, we very much appreciate the White House hosting this event today and your leadership in making it happen, so thank you very much. I think we've heard all day today, in order to raise awareness around and ultimately prevent financial elder abuse, we must work together as a vast network of partners from every point of contact and every interaction that we have with older Americans, from government agencies, elder advocates, and nonprofits to community leaders to businesses. Each one of us plays a pivotal role. And as the CEO of the not-for-profit Insured Retirement Institute, I can tell you that promoting consumer education and strong ethical standards for our industry is a core consideration for our membership. Our membership is comprised of insurers, banks, broker-dealers, and financial planning professionals. Building trust through education and fostering ethical practices is paramount in all that we do. So being a part of the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and financial elder abuse prevention is not only a fit for us, but also for the financial services industry as a whole. And you can count on us to be an active participant in your growing consortium of awareness partners and expect our commitment for a long to come. And it is because of our focus on consumer education that my organization leads the National Retirement Planning Coalition. The coalition is comprised of more than 50 financial services partners people like Prudential and MetLife, to consumer-facing organizations like Jumpstart and Wiser. I see Cindy Hounsel in the audience today. The group represents a wide array of nonprofits, educational institutions, industry associations, and IRI member companies, uniting a seemingly diverse group under one goal: to educate consumers about the importance of financial literacy and retirement planning and preparedness. And when we were first approached to support World Elder Abuse Day, we jumped at the opportunity to be a partner. At first blush, maybe raising awareness around elder financial abuse might not see a direct fit for a retirement planning coalition, but one, how do I say no to the Assistant Secretary and her passion around this issue? And two, promoting financial education and literacy is core to our mission. The work of the coalition fits right into these efforts. And in particular, we've paid special attention to the needs of older Americans, older consumers who are either nearing or in retirement, and we've done our research around their needs, wants, and desires. Our research shows that as a group, the ranks of older investors are growing at a brisk rate, and they've amassed a relatively high level of wealth. The number of Americans between the ages of 60 and 64 grew 56% between 2000 and 2010, and during the same period, the oldest Americans, those 85 plus, grew by 30%. We also know that the highest median net worth of all demographics are individuals between the ages of 55 and 64. Additionally, the median net worth of families in which the head of household is 75 years old or older is nearly 20% higher than that of boomers between the ages of 45 and 54. And interestingly enough, according to a November 2011 Pew Social and Demographic Trends report, the average net worth of people 65 and older jumped 42% between 1984 and 2009. So the number of older Americans is increasing exponentially. Their wealth is on the rise as well. In total, baby boomers control more than $13 trillion in investable assets. And with this comes the great convergence and the ripeness for financial abuse. And it brings about the epidemic that's right on the horizon that Mark spoke about in the last panel. And we know from these statistics regarding the future of retirement, those 77 million baby boomers marching into retirement, we have a looming retirement crisis never before experienced by our nation or by this world. IRI's own research shows that older boomers are especially in want and need of retirement advice, with over half indicating that they will not have enough money to even live comfortably throughout retirement, and more than 2/3 believing that they will not have enough money to pay for long-term health care expenses. Also, older boomers place a premium on leaving their loved ones an inheritance, with 2/3 stating that it's important to do so. So ultimately, these vulnerabilities, these concerns, and these dreams can also create the exact situations where older Americans can easily be preyed upon by those seeking to capitalize on the situation for their own unethical gain. Working with older clients also presents a number of challenges for financial advisors that they have not yet experienced in a wide scale of their advisement practices. Social and family issues take on greater importance for older investors, often including aspects related to life changes in retirement, participation of family members in planning and decision-making process, and beyond the usual focus of traditional money management advice. Advisors will need to incorporate issues such as power of attorney, guardianship, and professional caregiving in what they talk about with their clients. Research not only highlights the challenges facing older Americans, but also provides a better understanding of financial elder abuse. It is important to note that women are nearly twice as likely as men to be victims of elder financial abuse. Recent research from one of our leading member companies found that victims are typically in their 70s, They live alone, and they require assistance with either health care, home maintenance, or activities of daily living. The instances of fraud are most often perpetuated by strangers, followed by family, friends, neighbors, and trusted influencers, with the business sector falling in behind, with occurrences of exploitation within the business sector accounting for 1 in 10 of every instances. So herein lies the opportunity for us as an industry and a coalition to help identify red flags and to report them when we see them from the vantage point we have with these older investors. As trusted financial partners, tens of thousands of advisors have worked hands in hands with their clients to help them build their retirement savings, to help them attain financial peace of mind that will allow them to retire in dignity and purpose. So we are committed to their success in retirement. We are committed to the consumers we serve each and every day. The very last thing we want to see is for any bad actor to surreptitiously erase a lifetime of savings, the very act that can create financial ruin for an older American in the blink of an eye. We view the relationships with our clients as long-term partnerships, and we're committed to protecting them from exploitation. As an industry, it is imperative that we arm ourselves with the wide array of tools and resources to educate ourselves, to best work with our older clients as they turn to us for their retirement planning information. And that's where IRI and the coalition can be a strong partner with this administration, all of you in the room today, as we further support this effort today and then really to sustain this education and outreach throughout the year before we turn on helping undersaved Americans save for retirement. We have developed and deployed an entire resource toolkit on elder financial abuse and deployed that toolkit to 150,000 financial professionals across the country this week. And our coalition members are promoting the toolkit through their own channels. From customer service reps to banking professionals, we're engaging in social media. They are sending letters to the editor. They're issuing press releases of their own. They're showcasing fact sheets and other educational and training resources to their employees, contributing to this national echo chamber of awareness around this issue. And as the old saying goes, the best way to lead is lead by example, which is what all of you have been doing and are doing today and are committed to do in an ongoing way. We want to be there. Our partners want to be there, and we're going to do everything we can to help raise awareness around elder financial abuse and support those three main pillars of prevention, awareness, and reporting. And we're delighted to have the opportunity to join our efforts with our federal partners and look forward to helping work on rooting out financial elder abuse. So thank you for giving me this opportunity today, and we appreciate it once again. Thanks, Kathy.
Because I was on my best behavior, I didn't break out into applause at your lines, Kathy, about the 150,000 packets, but I think we really need to recognize that you have made a tremendous effort this week to send out information to your network, so thank you. It's very, very helpful. Our next speaker, could I call you my buddy? I mean, I feel like I should. My next speaker is Hubert H. Skip Humphrey III. Skip joined the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau as the Assistant Director of its newly established Office of Older Americans in October of last year. I think you and I met shortly after that. Skip came over and we met and we worked closely with his staff because our issues go hand in glove together. Skip is a tremendous advocate on behalf of older adults, and we find opportunities leading up to this day and beyond. He's a dedicated public servant from the state of Minnesota, served there in the state Senate, but also for many years as the Attorney General of the state of Minnesota, where he took a strong interest in consumer protection. He's also worked on aging issues, working closely with AARP, and he's here to help us close out the day to talk about the wonderful work that we're doing to protect older seniors. Thank you, Skip, for joining us, for being here all day. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Well, I thought everything was going well, and then I saw that Kathy Greenlee let a Humphrey finish up. Do you know what comes after Humphrey? My mother used to say, I know what comes after Humphrey, breakfast. I'll leave it at that. I don't know about you, but I am so fired up by what I heard today, by the people that have been here, the panels that have participated. You know, I come to this office, and I'll let you know a little bit about what our office is doing, but to be able to work with Kathy Greenlee, with so many others, with our Department of Justice, with the Social Security Administration, with the SEC, the FTC, and every other acronym that I have now got in my acronym book, is phenomenal. And then to hear today what I have heard, which is that all across this country, we are coming to grips together, working together to coordinate and collaborate our efforts to put an end to this elder abuse and exploitation and the financial side of it. That's what just excites the living daylights out of me. And I really, really appreciate the efforts. What a day, what a day. I mean, think of this. It's a daunting challenge, but it's a great opportunity to do good for our citizens. And I can't think of better people to do it with than all of you. So I just deeply appreciate the opportunity to be here. And let me go through just a couple of things because I want to make sure you understand what our office is doing. I listened carefully to my boss, Director Cordray, this morning, and I want you to know he listened carefully to what others were saying and did because I've gotten emails as of today. Get going, Humphrey. We got a whole lot of work to do. So I've got my orders already going. Now, the CFPB's Office of Financial Protection of Older Americans is very keenly focused on this particular problem of elder exploitation and abuse. And I think as it's been so wonderfully described and so fundamentally described, you can't segregate out just any parts of this abuse. But certainly part of it, this financial part, is a tragic part of the changes that take place in people's lives if it comes their way. So we need to think about that. You know, there's really, in a situation of where there is economic problems that people have and you're 30 or 40, that's terrible. But you got another 30 or 40 years to at least make it back. But if you're an older person, and I'm a spry young coming darn close to being 70, I got to tell you, if it happens 70, 80, and 90, there is no second time around. You have lost it. And that's a tragedy, particularly with the people who have worked so hard all their lives. They've done the right thing. They've saved the money. They're sharing it with the people that they care about. And then to have it stolen, taken away, it's outrageous. And we must come together, all of us, helping each other to stop this and to put an end to it. So that's what we're trying to do just a little bit at the CFPB. And let me give you just a couple of things that we're doing. And first, before I do that, I better step back because I guarantee you, Humphrey's got a loud mouth, but it doesn't work unless you have really good people working with you. Judith Kozlowski is here. Judith, I want you to meet. She's been working. Jennifer Duane, where are you, Jennifer? You're here. We have some others that are talented, and they're out doing other good work. It's a small team, but I've said, oh, yes, we've only got a small team, but if you add in all of the others and you represent them all across this country, we have a mighty force for good. And as this last panel talked about, if we cooperate and coordinate together, I guarantee you we will make an impact. We will help people save their lives, save their families, and frankly, save the future of this country. So that's kind of the work that we're doing. So today, I'm telling you that the CFPB is announcing and will be publishing in the Federal Register on Monday a request for information regarding senior financial exploitation. And now this is to help the Bureau's future decisions on the topic. One of the things that I have so enjoyed in working with the Bureau the short time that I've been there is we are fundamentally based on making sure that all the decisions we make is based on good, solid evidence and research. So we need your help. We need your input. We need the public's input on this. So I want to tell you just a little bit about a couple of things that we're looking for. Specifically, the Bureau wants to know how seniors can determine the legitimacy and authenticity of the credentials held by their financial planners and advisors, and how seniors can make informed choices about financial advisors. So we're looking at that particular area. The Bureau also wants to learn about the financial education and counseling and management programs that are tailored to the unique needs of older Americans and their families and caregivers, and to see how effective they are. So we need your input on that. And finally, the Bureau wants to know what specific types of fraudulent, unfair, and abusive and deceptive practices target older Americans, and particularly our veterans and military retirees. Now, we've heard a lot about that right today. Please help us by creating a record upon which we will lay the foundation for the work that needs to be done in the future. So I'd ask you to look at that on Tuesday. I think it's, am I right, Judy? Tuesday it'll be available on our website. Monday it's going to the Federal Register. Now there's a couple of other things we're doing that you've heard a little bit about the concerns here. We're looking at developing a lay fiduciary guide. This is plain language guidance for lay fiduciaries, family members and others who handle the finances for older Americans with diminished capacity. You know, when mom or dad calls and says, well, will you help me, son or daughter? You say yes. You don't say no, you say yes. You do it because you care, because you love. And you may not know what you're getting into. So you need to know what those responsibilities are. And that's what we're trying to do, is to help guide and give guidance to those who are the informal caregivers. I got to tell you just a story, just a little bit. We were down in Memphis, Tennessee, visiting a little bit, and we had a group of people around a table, and we were talking a little bit about this situation. And the elders that were there were saying, oh, yeah, I know, I've got my son helping my son. And one woman stood up and she said, you know, I got 7 kids. And I love them all, but I only trust 3 of them. Now that lady was smart. She knew, she was thinking, how does this work? How do we get the rest of this country to understand that you've got to ask those questions and to be courageous enough and informed enough to ask those questions, to ask yourself those questions and maybe ask the family those questions. So that's the kind of concern that we need to be looking at. The goal here, of course, is to enable fiduciaries to understand the rules of the road, managing the older person's income assets, and the guide will also teach them how to serve as a bulwark against the financial exploitation of third parties. Now, we're also working in some other areas. We're working with states and community organizations to establish and work with existing interdisciplinary teams. And basically, this is where we are looking at developing the models for financial abuse prevention response networks. And Jennifer Duane has a great one that was out in California. We are developing others all over the country. All of us do things a little bit differently. So that's why we need to know what the best models are, so that you can take a look and say, well, maybe that'll work out here in Louisiana, or maybe that'll work in Minnesota, or that'll work somewhere else in Oklahoma. We need to develop those models, and we're working hard to be able to do that. We want to bring, of course, the stakeholders together, and most of all, we want to be a catalyst for further action. And I can't thank Kathy, I can't thank you enough for this effort today. I don't know about anybody else, but it sure catapulted me into the effort. I guarantee you that. Now, this senior designation study is very, very important. I know some of you have experienced it, but I guarantee you, as soon as you reach 65, you will start getting the most wonderful offers for free lunches every day. And they will be brought to you by so-called experts. Now, if that person happens to be a member of the ABA section on elder law and has gone through all of the courses and is required and mandated to be certified every year and all the rest, well, maybe that's a good, reputable person that you can trust. Now, on the other hand, if it's a person that just wants to sell you a quick, some kind of product, who's gone to a class 2 hours before, a couple of weeks before that, you got something else going. But there is no way to know right now. We've begun collecting just the names that people use about being a senior expert. You cannot believe how many different versions there are. It's amazing how people can really brand themselves. So we're going to find out about that, and that's what that Federal Register inquiry, a lot of it is about. So we'd ask you to help in that area. The other thing that you may be concerned about, because I'm sure you watch television and you've seen just a little bit of the advertising around reverse mortgages, we are going to come out very soon and quickly with our reverse mortgage study. And I'd ask you to look at that, tell us what you think about it, positive, negative, how best it can work, because there are situations where the reverse mortgage can be actually the appropriate kind of vehicle to use. But you need to know what the risks are, you need to know what the costs are, you need to know how, in fact, it is abused when it is sold inappropriately. And so that's a very, very important matter. And frankly, if you take a look at it, the vast majority of older Americans, if they have anything saved up, it's saved up in their home. And so we need to make absolutely certain that when they use that equity, they're using it in the very best way. So all I can say is that reflecting on today's event here, I don't know about you, but I am totally fired up, and I'm sorry to say, I'm sure my staff is going to say, oh my God, now what's he coming back with? But I am completely committed to this effort. You have really done a super job, Kathy. It's just phenomenal. But working with you, working with Kathy Weatherford at the financial services industry, Carolyn at the Social Security Administration with our Department of Justice, and I guarantee you, I love having the Department of Justice here representing law enforcement and all those who have been in the local law enforcement area. I learned a long time ago as Attorney General in Minnesota that you can have all the wonderful prevention programs and education programs, and we absolutely need them. And on the other hand, you can have some great law enforcement, but without having both, you don't make progress. If, in fact, we combine both together, we will significantly impact and reduce this kind of violence against older people. And we need to make sure that we do that. So partners with Adult Protective Services, NAPSA, APS, and as I said, I can go through acronym city here, but the reality is that we need to work together. And if there's one thing that I think our office can dedicate ourselves to, it is trying to be that facilitator that brings us together. If we can do that, in coordination, cooperation with Health and Human Services, I think we will have created the kind of new tool that will make a huge difference in this country. You are doing great work where you're at. We want you to share that with everyone else, and we want to make it easy for you to share that great and good work. Kathy, thank you so much for today. This has been a phenomenal day, and I deeply appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. We're almost finished. What a fabulous day. So I just want to thank you all for being with us. MT, are you still here? MT? You said it often starts for people with a story or a person. I thought I would start the end here by telling you mine. I have, and I mentioned this morning, worked with Kathleen Sebelius for 17 years. She was not the first politician in my life. I started in state government in the state of Kansas working for Attorney General Bob Steffen, who was a colleague of Skip's when Skip was Attorney General in Minnesota. 20 years ago, exactly 20 years ago, I was working as an assistant attorney general in the Consumer Protection Division of the Kansas Attorney General's office, and I loved that job. And I had been on the job only a few months when financial exploitation of seniors first walked in the door. And it walked in the door in a grocery bag, sent to me by a federal district judge in Kansas. And in this grocery bag, and it was a grocery bag, was all of the mail of his aunt, who was heavily involved in sweepstakes and puzzles. And if Mr. Harwood here, still from the Federal Trade Commission, sweepstakes and puzzles in a whole bag. And we started in. And I had been only in this job for a few months at that point. And I was 32, fairly new attorney. And we put together an entire notebook and began cataloging all of those solicitations and prizes. So you all know me as my work in aging. But I started on this 20 years ago as a lawyer, suing companies and reading the boilerplate on the back of puzzles. And we were able to start litigating with these companies. We worked with your office and the state of Iowa, filed simultaneous lawsuits one day with your consumer staff and ours in Iowa against these companies. And I was able to recover $80,000 for this woman that was the aunt of the federal judge. But in this process, I started getting much more connected with the Federal Trade Commission, with the Postal Inspector's Office, with the National Associations of Attorney Generals, with the FBI. And I started to get the lists, because I would request the lists through discovery in these lawsuits I was filing. And I would read the list of the victims, and they all had old names. Ina and Harold are kind of old names. And you could look at the list and tell that these hot lists were preying upon an older population, and you all know this to be the case. And that's how I started in this work. And I knew then, and I committed then, that I could do that work as a career. And had decided, you don't know this, most people don't know this, that my goal in life was to, because I had not able to achieve my first goal, which is to work for legal aid forever. I worked for the state paid more. But my goal at that point, quite sincerely, was to at some point come to Washington and work for the Federal Trade Commission. That I could see in a state the opportunities working with the federal government and in this partnership. And I learned a lot. I learned about the fact that someone's name to a boiler room telemarketer is worth a lot of money, and they sell those things as commodities per the dollar per name. And they collect from these boiler rooms. You mentioned Nevada. I'd forgotten about Las Vegas and the scams in the boiler rooms in Las Vegas. They sell these name by name, and in this information, as it is sold, they collect the personal information that they obtain from staying on the phone with these consumers, these seniors, for hours at a time. So I'm here still, 20 years later, for this judge's aunt, and for a man named Willis in Kansas, who was a Kansas farmer. I could only call him late in the day when he got off his tractor and came back in. And I was trying to figure out why he had given so much money to these scam artists. And he talked about befriending them, that they had befriended him. They call and ask him about his horse. It's like, how do they know you have a horse? I mean, because they spent so much time that they ask about your grandchildren, your horse. And that information is actually gold for them because they sell it. And so those of you, Laura, when you go to someone's house and the phone is ringing, it's because that information in that criminal network is sold, and they are specifically targeted. I have been committed to working on this a very long time, and so I don't want it to be a surprise to people that I will keep doing this, pulling people together and working this sort of collaborative fashion. What we've been able to do here today is extraordinary. The federal partnership coming together, and this has exceeded our wildest expectations when we started the day. Last fall, I talked to my staff specifically and said, I want more closely connected to this issue. And you have heard me talk about this publicly. I cannot leave this job without working on this issue. And I asked for time on my calendar every week. And we began meeting every week. This is about the time Skip came, because I started giving you part of my work. Here, Skip, you're here. And what I said to them is the same thing that I want to say to you, because I think this is the truth for all of us. I worked with my staff and said, let's frame all the issues, and then I want you to tell me what only I can do, what only I as the Assistant Secretary can do. And I can meet all the people that I've helped you meet today. But there are things that I cannot do. There is so much work that went into today, and it is a reflection of our staff, because they also do this same thing, the things that they know how to do. So I just want to recognize all of our staff who have put this day together. We have staff with the Department of Justice, with Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and I have a tremendous staff of people with the Administration on Aging. A number of them. I just want to know if the staff for the three agencies, if you would just stand so we could just acknowledge you and say thank you to you. They are very good, and they are very committed, and they have responded to the challenge and the call to put together a day like this. And so I'm just very proud of what we've been able to put together. It's been really an incredible launch. The work that the Secretary announced this morning with the Elder Justice Coordinating Council, I just want to return to. That this gives us an actionable item in the Elder Justice Act, that we are desperately looking for a way to implement the Elder Justice Act. And this Coordinating Council came to us 2 years ago in the Affordable Care Act, when the Elder Justice Act passed. And we can now implement a piece of the Elder Justice Act by standing up the Coordinating Council. And it gives us an anchor for a conversation that's broad enough to talk about what are these impediments that the financial industry is talking about that we need to deal with. How do we both be respectful of seniors, not overly paternalistic, but provide safety for them? How do we respect their privacy and protect them together? We want to use the Coordinating Council as the home for these kinds of issues. And we will use this as our anchor moving forward, the piece that can keep these issues connected. And we have pulled off quite a coup that we want to tell you about, because we are so committed that we're just finding all of the excellent talent that we can find. We are working directly now and have brought on board Sid Stahl, who recently retired from the National Institute on Aging, who's very well known for his research and work in the field of elder abuse. He will help us staff this new Federal Coordinating Council, and so he's been with us all day. I just want to recognize Sid and his work. Welcome aboard. I kept making other people not tell him. I don't tell him yet. I want to tell him that Sid's now going to be with us as we move forward. We would like to be able to post the video of this day on the White House website. I hear it'll take a day or two, so we'll send an alert out to those of you who've been watching today, those of you in the room, so that you can follow it, because we certainly want to use it as the reference that we hope it will be. We designed this day with the content that you have now witnessed, so that we can energize and learn from each other. We also want to keep this energy going, not just with the Coordinating Council that I've announced, but we want to, the Secretary announced, but we want to also, in this next year, highlight this next year as the year of elder abuse prevention, to really make a concerted effort collectively to focus this next year on elder abuse prevention. And we want to work with our partners, all of you here with the National Center on Elder Abuse, provide additional information, additional toolkits, talking to providers, financial industry, consumers, and figure out how we can continue to highlight this issue going forward. So let me close by referring to what I call my business card. Have you all heard me talking about my business card? I didn't actually bring it. It's this big. My business card that I refer to is the March 2011 GAO report prepared for the Senate Special Committee on Aging. And our partners from the Senate Committee were here. They were in the back. I'm not sure if they're still here. Earlier today. It came out a year ago, about the time that Mickey Rooney testified, and you all remember the Mickey Rooney testimony. And do you remember the cover of the GAO report? Because I do. Remember? Let's all say it together. Stronger federal leadership would enhance a national response. Welcome to today. That's what we did. And it's all of us. It's the stronger federal leadership we just demonstrated, an inkling I had 20 years ago that we have tremendous assets at the federal level that we can pull together, a structure now to do this. But it is also about the national response. So think about what you've heard. The work that we've done in California, the work in New York, the work in Oklahoma, the work in Chicago. Joe, where'd Joe go? From Pennsylvania. We have called out in this day the national work that we are already doing. And what we need is a structure to pull it together and a structure to pull it forward. And so this is the successful day we had hoped to have. And let me set our next goal. When we have to move it, we have to have an action. So here's the next goal I have for us. I want to move from being successful today to this being epic today. I want all of us to remember we were here. That's what turns this into epic. If, as we go forward, we can all say, I was there at the White House on June the 14th, 2012, when we pulled this forward in a stronger way. We are not the beginning. We're the next catalyst. And I want us all to do that, memorialize this day by making it that epic, because I think it has that kind of potential. Now, let me go back to where we started. Tomorrow is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. You have one more day to keep it going, and another step. And it really does, quite literally, start tomorrow. So thank you for all of your attention, for everything you've done, for the success that we have, and what we are about to do together. Thank you all very much.